just checking is it working, and here I am in my S8875. Let me just move that. Well, hello, my name is Susan and my channel is Seaside Stitches, and I live on the northwest coast of the UK. So good morning, this is FridaySews. It is the 1st of December, so it is also Vlogmas Day 1. I'm not going to get the two mixed up, so let's forget about Vlogmas for this video. Okay, so what have I been doing? Well, as you can see, I have finished my dress, and I had finished it last week. What I want to show you is this. So I rarely have problems with facing sticking out, rarely. And when people go, oh, I don't like a facing, I'd rather bind it, I kind of don't know what they're talking about, because I rarely have any problem with it. And I've also been practicing on this particular one that where you do the understitching just right up to where the seam edge is, just on the inside, what I tend to do is leave more of the seam allowance. I know people sometimes trim them right back to kind of 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch or whatever below that understitching. I don't. I leave one layer that's quite long, and what I've been doing with this is I think I've done 4 now, just because it's such slippy fabric and it fights with itself, and where the seam underneath and this are catching each other, then there's friction and they just move themselves. Like all the seams that I sewed on it, it was a nightmare. I would never ever use this particular fabric again. I may use a velour, but the Crush Velvet I won't use again. It just fights itself. If you turn it, if you put 2, just look at the cuffs. The cuffs there are doing that because I've got my watch on and I didn't actually straighten them out. But just to put the cuffs on, it's fighting with the one underneath and in the seam, not inside, because they're just the slippy side together, aren't they? But anyway, and I could have, I'm not even going into it, I could have made them tighter or whatever, but they're not going to bother me. My cuffs are not going to bother me. They're just there to hold my tissue in place. I don't like pockets and things, so I always have a tissue with me, and that's easy to shove a tissue up there ready just in case I need it, and probably another one up there in case I need a spare. So that's all the cuffs are for, and apart from the fact that I like a non-drafty arm. I don't like drafty sleeves, so that's that sorts that out. So going back to what I was doing here, so I've just run round about 4 different understitch lines, and that was keeping it in fine. And yesterday I wore it for about an hour without the jumper underneath, just to check how it was and did I like it, and were the sleeve heads where I wanted them. And I have put some photos in about an hour ago, and Alan and I just had a real laugh me doing it, because I'd said to him, now come down, could you come and help me, but don't annoy me. And that is really, don't distract me by, anyway, it doesn't really matter. But we put it on the 10-second timer, so I had to hold the pose for 10 seconds while it does 10 bursts of a burst of 10 photos. And we were both doing don't laugh, and then as I was saying don't laugh, because when I press it myself I have to run and get in front of it before it starts, and so there's lots, and it flashes a light several times to me. I work from the camera side, I don't work from what it's looking at, because I don't do it the selfie way, I don't do it back to front mirrored. The camera is much more powerful, what's the word? The resolution is much better if you actually film from looking at the camera side, not the screen. I don't know if you know that, but that's how it is. So I can't see whether I'm in position or not, and so I just got Alan to just press the start button with it already being primed on the 10, because if he does it, he could wobble the camera if he takes the photo, and then it's like, what's happened there? So we have a bit of a, yes, so we've just had a really good time doing filming the dress. I've only done stills. I usually go outside to do the dancing about ones, and we didn't get that far. So yes, so I wore it yesterday. Why am I telling you that? But now, since I put this top on underneath, it is creeping, so it's catching on the underside of this fabric, and it is walking away from it all the time. So it's good to know. It's good to know that I've practiced doing that, because I will want to be wearing, I made it as a winter dress and I want something under it most of the time. It's not a best dress, it's to wear and to have some kind of brightness for the winter months. And I can wear it with a top underneath, and I can wear it with several underslips. Now I don't understand the thing about people who don't wear underslips and suddenly buy one because they've got a make that they needed to buy for. I have about 7. Just got to check that this is videoing. Okay, I seem to be in the frame. I've moved a little bit now anyway, but so happy Friday sews on the, it will be the 1st of December, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to talk to you about because I've got quite a few little things going on in my mind. And one thing I would like to show you is my bag. I did finish the bag. I talked about finishing it. I talked about me taking it. I showed you some photos. I am in the process of putting together a video about ByAnnie bags generally, and about this one. It's not a massively long video, because I didn't film the actual full making of it. So at the front this is detachable shoulder, the over the shoulder strap, and I lengthen these by 3 inches. I did mention just slightly on my last video I mentioned. And there you've got your front pocket, which as you will see is done with the main fabric inside, and I chose the yellow for the lining. And I'm only telling you, mind you, because I don't want everybody to know, but when I did this pocket, behind that should also be this fabric. And when I got to that piece of fabric, it's all pretty wonderful this, because this is a separate piece of fabric as this is, and then there is another piece of fabric, a quilt sandwich inside that has those 3 pockets on. But that side is meant to be the lining side. And when I first came up to, I went and had some lunch or something in between, and I'd set it out. I'd set these 3 pockets, this strip with 3 pockets on, I'd set that against the other side of the yellow, the other side of that lining. Not lining. The lining is on one side, and that's the main fabric. And in order to make sure that the main fabric, when you open this pocket, would be the right way up, as this, although no one probably but me knows there is a right or wrong way up, but I found that there were some little squiggles that I really quite liked, and they were this way. When you got to that bit, they all went like that, and when it's on the other way, they are down. There isn't a reverse of that. So I counted this as the way up. So what I did was make sure that that was the way up, as just before I put this on. So I'd set it up ready, I knew what I was doing, and then just to check that it was going to be the way up, I must have turned it over. And once I turned it over, I then started to attach these on that side. At that point I was working with my old machine, and it wasn't behaving very well, but I was managing, and I managed to get it on relatively well. And it was only as I finished that I realised I'd actually sewn the pockets to the outer part of the fabric. Now the outer part of the fabric was only going to be showing here. Showing here. And that part of the fabric would have been showing on the inside. I don't know if you're following this, on the inside with those pockets on it. But I just thought, I am not taking that apart for that small thing, and to me that's fine, because that really matches the front one where it's. And if I hadn't have told just you, that one person that's listening now, no one else would know, would they? So I'm just letting you know that it's, if it seems a bit crazy that that's on there, that's why. But to me, it's lovely and bright, and I like it, and it isn't a problem. It would have been more of a problem if I'd have tried to undo it. I could have caught the fabric as I was pulling out the stitches, because they were quite small stitches, to make sure that those pockets are held properly. And they're bound with fold over elastic, and I've chosen the black to go with that fabric and the yellow, as I've done there with that one. That is just a mesh pocket, so you can put any kind of things behind there, and it just keeps them all from falling out into the bag. So that's what I meant when I said I got in a panic. Last time I mentioned that I couldn't find anything because I couldn't work my bag, because I usually use a different kind of bag, and I hadn't organised myself to know exactly where everything was. And inside it I did use like a cosmetic bag, so that I had some things in different separate compartments within that. Anyway, that's that for now, and it's got a double zip, so you could just access one side, but if you're wanting to have a really good look in it, then you've got that. Okay, I like that sound. Okay, so that's that for now, and yeah, I felt quite proud of myself that I did finish it, given the fact that I had to swap sewing machines and that I couldn't get near the edge, so I had to leave parts of it, and I did get it done in time, so that was lovely for the knitting and stitching show. So what I've been doing since then, well, I have been on a little adventure with the Nina Lee Camden skirt. Now, when I made the pinafore dress, I'll just bring her round because she's a bit complicated to explain. So when I made the pinafore dress, I found the pockets were useless. There was that, I've got big hands in any case, but they look like they're really quite big pockets. But you just, as soon as you do that, you jam your fingers against the bottom of the pocket. So I got a bit cute, and I decided, for if I ever made it again, and I wasn't sure I would. Oh, see, she's back in her underwear. I don't know if you understand about this, but when you're making a mannequin fit to you, you have to pad it to your measurements, and I used various methods to lower the bust, because you can't actually lower the bust on something like this. So she is actually wearing a basque, and she's got some under bust support, but she's also with a bra that's low down, so the support is lower. And then it just kept slipping off, so I had a t-shirt that I was using on it to hold all the stuff in, but I just put stuff on top of the t-shirt, and then it's just a bit of a nuisance to get it off. So that's why she looks a right scruff bag. But then I just decided to cover her unmentionables a bit better with this long vest from Matalan quite a while ago, and usually she sits in the corner just kind of, nobody notices me, do they? No. So I popped this on because I've now made it too wide. I really don't like this method of construction, and I know I don't like it, and yet I still followed it. Now I know the pockets are massive and they're weird, and I'm quite happy about that. I don't mind about that. And I know that I'm like, I don't know, a 1/16 of a mil out on one side to the centre line, and I'm not bothered about that. And I'm only telling you, again, I'm only telling you. But I can get my hand in there, and I quite like that. But the method of construction is to make the front, attach the side seams, and then you have this back bit. Now, if I made the back and had put the zip in, I could then bunch the side seams together and work out what fits me. But doing this, I feel like I'm working blind, and it's just like, so I also made a size 16, and I had done a 14 for the one I made before, but then, as you're aware, I'd got a bit on my tummy area, and so I thought I'll play it safe and make a 16, and if it is a bit big or not big enough, whatever, I'll alter it by altering the seam allowance a bit. But it turns out that it's quite big, so you see they should go down there, so they're a bit, I only took 3/8, which is what it is. And see, I didn't used to have this dumpling tummy before, but that's fine. So I'm going to take them off, and I'm going to sew that up, and I'm going to put a zip in it, sew it up and put a zip in it, and then I've got 2 halves that I can join down here. So that's just waiting for another day, but I just love that fabric, and I love how I've kind of got on with it, and just, it's what I call a slow sew, and I don't sew fast anymore. I watched Nadia on the vlog where she'd made her suit for the knitting and stitching show, and she stayed up. She had lots of commitments in the evening, and she cut out a blouse, Davenport dress blouse, in her lunchtime, and then she worked out things before tea and after tea, and started to work on the blouse, and then she stayed up late, and it kept going wrong, and she stayed up late, and I just thought, that's how I used to sew. But I was only a teenager, or I was in my 20s. I had no commitments. And yeah, if I'd have got up a bit bleary-eyed the morning after for work, or setting off to a show or whatever, I'd have just managed it. But I don't work like that anymore. And so I will rarely bring home a pattern, cut it all out, make it up, and then I've got a finished article that day. I'm not averse to doing that, but the way I work things out, the way my mind works, and the way my need for self-care and leisure works, I don't do that anymore. And so in between doing this and something else, that's when I decided to chuck these cuffs on. I thought, you're not getting the best of me. Get on there. I think there is still the gathering stitches in there, or they are, because I found some thread before. I think that's what's there. So I've just put this on here to keep it out of the way, because it takes a lot of room up on the table. And it also molts quite a bit. And I don't want to have to, pressing it is not an easy thing to do, so that I don't get the things showing through. So I just decided to clip it on here. Pardon me, I'll probably have edited this bit out. Okay, so the other thing I have nearly done, and I'm so pleased about this. I got quite upset. I think I may have shared that last time when I talked about the knitting and stitching show. I got quite upset that I didn't make the Upcycle challenge, because I really rate Karen at So Little Time and Becky at Notes from the Sewing Room. Anyway, who had put together the Upcycle challenge, and I wanted to thank them really by joining in with the challenge, because I do quite a bit of upcycling, and I chose this dress that I've had a long time. Here we are, facings, because I started to muck about with these yesterday. Anyway, so that'll be sorted afterwards. So what I was doing was, it was a very long dress, and I have a medical problem called lichen sclerosis, and I go into quite a bit of detail about why that meant I had to change my idea for a wardrobe, not a wardrobe to buy, because I can no longer wear trousers or full leggings unless I remove the gusset, and well, I just used to live in jeans, leggings, trousers, and all of a sudden that was taken away from me unless I wanted to be constantly in discomfort and pain and provoke more distress in the area that they affect. So I started making very long dresses, or kind of definitely midi, but maybe a bit longer, and so that in the winter I could wear petticoats, I could wear underslips, and I can wear a full length one, I can wear a waist one, I can sometimes wear another skirt under something, but just to keep warm. So that was, I always say this, we came here in 2015 because I have to work back. So I think about 3 years before that, so that would be, yes, it was about 2011 or 12. That's when I had my diagnosis was 2012, but I'd had it before. Yes, so 2012, so we're talking about 10, 11 years that I got back into sewing then, and I made quite a few long dresses. But no one was wearing long dresses then, really. Anyway, all that's dealt with in the other video, which I'll put a link to should you be interested. But I've always liked this one, and it always did fit me well, and it just became a bit of a drag, really, that it was just a bit long, and I'd lost weight and it was hanging off me, or I'd put on weight and it accommodated me. So it's been usable. And it was also a reminder that I had got back into sewing, so I've got some sort of attachment to it. But I like to wear, as you can see, a polo neck underdresses if it's not that warm. So I wanted to alter it in some way and zhuzh it up a bit. So there is a video about this. It's not come out yet, but there you go. It's hanging about. So I put a frill on. I took some off the bottom. I put a frill on. I couldn't make the challenge date because I just hadn't finished it. I wasn't well that weekend, and I couldn't finish it in time, and also without using another piece of fabric that I'd found that I had from it. And that's kind of, was it breaking the rules or not? Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but I just persevered with it. After the challenge had finished, I continued. I'm nearly there now, so I've just got a little bit more to sew up. Then I'll be pressing it on the hem of that frill, and I just wanted to take... I redid some of the seams, I recut the sleeves, I just tidied it up generally, and then I have, just to shorten the sleeve by some 2 or 2.5 inches or something, so that it won't look so daft if I've got a black polo under it. So that's what that is, and I'm really pleased I've been working on it. So that's been another kind of uplifting thing that I've been doing. So I've been doing my purple, which is on uplifting. I've yet to sew all my lining, that's just a piece of the fabric, but I just happen to have the purple from some while ago that I'd bought the lining for nothing in particular really. So that's that. The other thing is I have this on my list. Now I take this to my sewing social every week, and it's just to put the cuffs back on here because I made the sleeves too long. And one of the reasons I don't bother with it that much is I don't like the lilac. Lilac is a firm favourite of mine, but this is an off shade to me. It's not my lilac at all. But I made it for the Frugal Frocks. So Frugal 23. It's a free pattern. I always want to call it the April top. It's called the Vera top from Forget Me Not Patterns. And I was pleased that I'd made it. I like the way they construct the V-neck. Different than I've ever seen before. I like the actual fit on me, but I don't like the fabric. So even though and I also not keen on this amount of lycra in this cotton. It's one of those that feels cold. Well, it's going to feel cold today, innit, because it's cold. Yeah. So anyway, I just need to. It's got a bishop sleeve. I've put I had to take off 3 inches because I overestimated how much I needed, and then I've got that, and the cuffs are ready, and they just need all putting together. So sometimes I just take, well, each time I've just bundled it up and put it in a bag, and in a project bag, and took it to whatever I just said, the sewing social, just in case I get on with it. And I haven't done yet, so it's there, and the thread is there, and the other cuff is there, and I'd like to finish that today. If you're not exhausted, I don't know what time I started, I'll just go for another 5 minutes. I've had a lovely journey this week with, well, it's something I'm going to make a proper video about, a separate video, but I have discovered the Cashmerette Grafton Dress, and it has umpteen options for it, from it. And the beauty of this is, I believe, that I can accommodate this shallow neckline that I have. And as I've said, I don't have a big bust, I have a low bust, but I need something that incorporates both without always having to do either a low bust adjustment or have this all baggy. So this is just going to keep coming out, not bothered. For the camera, it's just a bit of a nuisance. So the dresses the things that I find patterns for are few and far between that give me this shallow neck, this shallow kind of a, I know it's not decoupage. Anyway, never mind. I won't make something where I stick all paper over my decollage. Anyway, no man, just that bit is very shallow. So I have trialled a top in it, because when I wanted to make the Rose Clare dress from these, there is a measurement chart that you put your measurements in, and your high bust and your bust and your waist, whatever, and it comes up that I start on a 10. So to do a 10 that is shallow here, and that I can use the CD cup and then see how that is, or the EF cup. What I found out is the 10, remarkably, the 10, I can't explain this because I can see it and I'm not. Okay, so I have cut this out in this beautiful, I think, beautiful wacky fabric from Truro Fabrics that I got in the summer, about June, while we were on holiday. There's a piece of, I need to be careful, I'll take that out. I managed to put on the scoop neck band, and I'm really pleased with that. I think actually it should be a little bit shallower because I only did a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I think I was thinking of something else, and it should be 3/8. But it fits nicely, it's lovely, and I can't believe how happy I was just getting a nice fit up here. And I'm just about to cut the sleeves out for it. And this is definitely something, once you know that it fits you, you could run up in an afternoon or whatever. But that's not my purpose. I'm doing a test to see if I want to make the actual dress, which was my hope. So that's all I'm saying really about that, because I've got quite a lot to say about it, about using that pattern or not using that pattern. But I'm really thrilled to bits with the fact that that fits me there, and then that's that. And the other thing I have done is, this was fabric from the first sewing social that I went to. Not stick that in my eye. And I put the sleeves in this yesterday. I finished the neckband. I recut the neckband because I made this in a 14, I think. It's a 14, but I graded the hips to a 16. It's one of those that does that. I graded it to a 16 and it didn't need it. So I've done I redid that yesterday. I don't want to pull threads because I know what that's attached to. So that fits lovely as well. And I'm hoping maybe by the time this is able to go out, I will have hemmed it or put some cuffs on the bottom and put the sleeves on this one and took some photos in them. But I'm not going to stress myself. It's Thursday that I record this. I may finish it and I may not, but I didn't want to try finishing it and then I've run out of light to video for you. So that is just me. That is so purple. Now it's purple plus lipstick. Up. So yeah, I think I might have put lipstick on something else that I picked up. That I'll check. So yeah, they're not for now, but they're for putting under things that are for now, and that just seems to go with that. I've had this for, I don't know, 12 months, probably 12 months. It was from last year's sale at Abercon, last year's November sale. Okay, so you don't look very comfy there, lady. So yes, I'm very pleased with that. But I'm pleased with the fact that I've tried it, that I'd cut the neckband a bit bigger because I don't like a tight band, a tight neck, but it was just drooping a bit. So yesterday I finally recut the neckband, which is what I've been going to do for weeks. And thank you again to the person who left this on the swaps table at the first social sewing that I went to. I'm hoping to put together a video of how I've felt about the sewing socials, how they've gone for me, what I can't say made, what I've got up to when I've got there, and I'm on to my 4th next Wednesday, so hopefully I'll get round to doing that vlog as well. But who knows? I think that's it for now. Definitely on a finishing roll, and that's good. I'm consciously trying to do that, to get things out of the way, because I have got some winter fabric from last year and some that I've been gathering, and I've not shared anyway because I've been doing other things. So I will get round to doing that, and I have one particular piece that I want to make a dress from that may end up being one of these and may not. But I feel like I'm done with this pattern now. I love it. I definitely am pleased I chose the pattern of this fabric. As I say, I wouldn't use it again. The Crush Velvet, but it's not a complaint about the fabric. And I think the effect is quite stunning. When I stood in the light and we were going to take my photos, we had to actually shut the blinds because it was too bright in patches on me. But I think in the light, what the light does to this fabric is amazing. And I do like the effect of it. And it feels very 70s on me, which is what I wanted a winter dress to feel like on me this year. So, and kind of I know because I was there. So when people go, oh, it's very 70s. It's very 70s. Okay, so lots of love to you. Thank you for watching, and I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with all the subscribers that I've got and the views that I've been getting, and it makes it all worthwhile, because sometimes it's not that easy for me to have the impetus to make a vlog. And when I make one and I am speaking to you, although I'm just speaking to the back of a camera or a phone, I feel uplifted that I can just talk about sewing, even if it's just to myself. So thank you for being there. Thank you for being the purpose of me being able to feel good about myself. I hope to see you again soon, and well, I don't know if I'm doing Vlogmas. I don't know if I'm doing anything for Vlogmas. I don't know if this will be my last video until January, but we'll only know tomorrow. Alright, thank you. Bye for now. Susan at Seaside Stitches, signing off. Friday Sews, the 1st of December 2023. Bye.